medium tough. Michelle, thanks for joining us. Charity, thank you for joining. So we just had that one little tough that already makes it look really nice right there. And then I need some of the Vampire Red. Mama Scarecrow, thank you for joining us. And I need this. So we forgot one thing. On last night's live. And that was the hooves. But the reason we forgot the hooves was because they blend in so well with the ground that they sometimes are forgotten. Official Land, Jalen, thank you for joining us. Spicy, thank you for joining us. We are finishing up this Neurogaunt that we began last night on live, and then we're going to move on to another. This is what we got so far. And how's everyone's weekend going today? Do this as well. So we are missing a couple of our usuals. William, how are you doing today? Mama Scarecrow, thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. Models and Games, Jack. Haven't seen you in a minute, buddy. How are you? So we are still raising money for Fort Safe for Good. That is what the Tiny Dinies are for. Jacob C&D, thank you for joining us. And with that, this one is done. Armando Split, thank you for joining us. This one's officially done. We can move on to our next one, which is going to be. Hold on. Why is that one stuck down there? Okay, I see why that was stuck down there. We didn't even get that one in the hole properly. AK Painting, thank you for joining. Anna, thank you for joining us. Key. Justin Eastman, thank you for joining us. Lori Chemo, thank you for joining us. Vincent, thank you for joining us. For those that are joining, we are donating to charity. We have multiple ways you can do that. You can donate by the Tiny Dinies. Once we reach that goal, that amount is donated directly to Fort Safe for Good. If you wish to donate directly to the American Cancer Society, you can right there as well. The other way that we are raising money for charity is through our commissions. Every commission that we make is donated to Fort Safe for Good. And if you're not sure what Fort Safe for Good is, it is a organization ran by Lord of the Unfinished Projects. for cancer research currently. From what I'm understanding, is the organization will change uh, the benefit every so often so that we can donate to as many causes as we can. Currently, it is for pancreatic cancer awareness and research, which is why we are doing this. Engine Phil, thank you for joining us. And I ask this a lot throughout our video, through our lives. How is everybody doing? I want as much fan interaction as I can get. This way I know what to talk about more often. The Painting Rod, thank you for joining us. Carmichael Gree, thank you for joining us. So I'm not sure what was said, but let's try to keep everything PG-13, everyone. We are already getting hit with flags, which is completely unacceptable. Rodney Taylor, thank you for joining us. Juan, thank you for joining. Send me a DM, Rascal, on what you said, and I'll see what potentially. Ah, okay. I see what happened. So a lot of the times TikTok has a funny way of picking up what is and isn't appropriate. I have been flagged in my own videos for saying we are moving on to the green skin, which is the exact name of the color I'm using. So I see what happened there. Skull, you see him? Thank you for joining us. Actually, let me look at the last one. The last one, we got one more thing that we have to do. I forgot to do it beforehand because it's such a small detail. I always forget about it to the very end, and that's the teeth. Goblins are fun, though. Are you painting Warhammer goblins, or are you painting like D&D? Caitlin, thank you for the join. It's commission goblin, okay. Right now, my commissions are open. I got nothing that I'm waiting on. So I'm waiting on those to pick up. So I figured while I wait for commissions to come in, I'll do my best to help raise some money for cancer research and then try to finish up one of my armies, which is the NIDS. JRG, thank you for the joining. I hate when that happens. When you're a week behind on a commission, it's never a good thing, in my opinion. Not on you as the artist, but also as the person waiting on the commission. I mean, I know I got a couple of people that are waiting to ship out their giveaways, but they're understanding that at the time I didn't have the funds. Now I have the funds. I just gotta wait for my next check and hope that bills don't hit before then. This is what we painted last night. We're going to do similar to that on this one. Except we're going to try to make the blood on the sides more protruding. And I think I know what the issue was. And it's because I didn't have my UV light charged. So we're going to see if that's the issue. Jesse, thank you for joining us. If anybody wants to see what we are working on for the miniature painting competition, we actually finished both of our entries. We have our diorama entry right here. And then we have our single entry right here. And this is actually going in my army as well. Nymphea. Long time no see. Now, what I really like about this is the underglow on those wings. I love the effect that we gave that to it. And right now we're just working on the rest of the army for it. And Faye, I hope everything's going well with you over there. I know you and Matt are still in the process of getting everything finished with the move. There was one, and here's the issue I run into with the local stores, and I get it. They want more business coming into the shop. If you're running a Discord for your local store, and you mention a miniature painting competition, but you know that you have people that once you launch a website for your local store that they can actually purchase stuff on there, that they want to support you because they understand what being a small business is. Wouldn't it be smart to allow those that want to support your business to join the miniature painting competition, even if they are not in the same area? For example, I have a friend who owns a game store. Now, this game store is in a state that, frankly, even if I had a whole weekend free, I would not be able to drive down and see them and come back in time for work because it's just that far away. They're running a miniature painting competition. I asked about it and I asked, is this an in-person only event? And they said, yes, you cannot participate because you do not live in the area. Now, once again, I've agreed that once they do get a shop running, that I was going to go down and I was going to go online and purchase from them primarily exclusively. Obviously, some things I need to get elsewhere. A lot of the Monument Hobby stuff is only sold in specific stores. Games Workshop sells some things that are exclusive for my army, only in Games Workshop stores. But it's the fact that somebody who I've said, the moment that this goes down, Only Figs, thanks for joining. Whenever they said that the I couldn't join. And I've already told them multiple times, the moment that their store goes online, I am going to be purchasing from them. It kind of felt like a shot in the dark to me that I'm going to support your business and that I'm wanting to support your business, but you're excluding me from your miniature painting competition solely because of the fact that I don't live in the area. To me, that's a little strange. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's how I took it. I mean, and once again, this is like somebody I've been friends with for years. And it felt strange that they didn't want somebody out of the area participating when they're having everybody vote for it on their Discord. That's the strange part to me. Why have it on your Discord and mention it on your Discord if you're only allowing in person? Only Figs, how have you been? I haven't seen you in a little bit. I'm not 3 hours away, but I fully understand you. I live an hour, like 30, 40 minutes south of St. Louis. So getting to an actual game store is nearly impossible. We have one that is 35, 40 minutes away from me. And then we have another that is closer. But the downside with the closer one is the fact that it is not selling miniatures. It has moved solely onto what do you want to call them? Solely a card store. And then we have another big name that's about the same distance, 30, 40 minutes away. But the downside with that one is they just changed locations and they're not up and running as of yet with the new location. So this is what we got so far. I just added those little tufts. While we waited for that red to dry so that we could add the UV resin. Dad and Dom Gaming, thank you for joining. Jared, Ray, Spectacle for Life, thank you for joining. Jamie, well, I do got everybody on here. I do want to mention our goals. Gift goal, still doing the Tiny Dinies for charity. If we get to that amount, that all gets donated to Fort Safe for Good. American Cancer Society right here. That gets donated directly by you all. And then, of course, we still have our we still have the goals that we have set in place for our commissions and Patreon and everything like that. And that is the 50% for Etsy and Patreon subscribers gets donated to Fort Safe for Good directly. And then with in-person requests, such as just reaching out to me directly, that gets donated at what's what I'm looking for? 45%. 25%. I cannot talk today. 25% for in-person requests. Okay, Citadel, most colors. I need special order. I fully understand that, Rascal. I have to order all of mine off Amazon because I prefer the Army Painter over other brands. And most brands that my local game stores do sell is Citadel. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just getting the UV resin ready for some more blood effect. Spectre Gadget, thank you for joining me. I want to try out the Fnatic line, and that's why I entered the diorama portion of the miniature painting competition that I entered, because the diorama portion is the award is the 50-piece set for Fanatics. Very nice. I want to get the complete set of Fanatics, but I mean, that set is far too expensive. My recommendation is the Fnatic set. The airbrush set is good. I'm not going to sit there and say it's not. But if you're not going to utilize an airbrush, it is more of a gimmicky set, in my opinion. Bear with me for a second. Finally got a good angle for the UV resin for the blood effect. Like, don't get me wrong. Eventually, I'm going to get the airbrush set, but I really want an airbrush before I do that. And I will show you what I'm using for UV resin here in just 1 second. So I am using this. It is Osbane UV resin, 100 grams. I got it off Amazon for $10. I've been using it for about 2-3 months now, and honestly, I've never had a single issue with it. And it comes with multiple reservoirs that I could utilize. I got this one. I got some others lying around here somewhere. And then I got the light. Oh, here's another one. And then I got the light off Amazon as well for $8, $9. And I just take the glistening blood. Yeah, this is the one that I got, and like I said, it is off Amazon. Highly recommended, which is why I chose it. And there we have a blood effect. With that, though, I think we are going to finish up the black and then call it a night. I appreciate you donating that way. If you actually go onto my profile as well, Rascal, there's a miniature painting competition, which is what this is for. And this, which is a $10 donation as well. And that gets you into the miniature painting competition. It's through Lord of the Unfinished Project. I'm not sure if you're already in that. But it's called Fort Safe for Good. And they're raising money for specifically pancreatic cancer right now. And then since you donated, I am going to mention the donations while everyone is hopping in. We also have the Tiny Dinies. That all gets donated in the name of the entire community. So it'd be labeled as the Scarecrow community to Fort Safe for Good. And then our Patreon's 50% donation, regardless of tier. Our Etsy's 50% donation, regardless of tier. And our in-person is 25% after cost of materials is donated in your name. Where do I get my miniatures? You're looking to find some used ones. So that's a great question. I actually don't use used miniatures. The only one that I have used that's quote unquote used is actually this one. This one was pre-built and sold to me by another miniature painter who was not going to use it. Typically, I buy my miniatures off Temu or Amazon. It really depends on the miniature you're looking for. Warhammer, you are going to pay an arm and a leg every time. It's just the name of the game. You can use eBay for used miniatures. That's always an option. You can find some pretty good deals there. The issue is you got to look at what you're getting. Because if you're thinking you're going to get a whole Leviathan set for $16, then I hate to tell you that's not the case. You're not going to get the entire Leviathan set for $16. You may get a mini or two, but that's about it. But yeah, like Rascal said, if your local game store has a Discord, they may have a selling and trading armies section. But it also comes down to what type of miniature you're looking for. Marvel Crisis Protocol, not that big here where I'm at. However, I can find it really cheap on Amazon. You're looking to get into Tyranids. Okay, so definitely check out. There is a group on Discord, and I'll send you the link if I can. Warforge, where it's nothing but Tyranids. I don't know if you're already in that Discord. I'm pretty sure they have a selling section there. I could be wrong. But yeah, I mean, all the miniatures I've bought have either been donated or sold to me for a friend or bought off Amazon primarily. Every single Tyranid has been bought off Amazon. Anakin here was purchased off Amazon. This one right here was donated to me. It was actually two separate figures that I was like, you know what? They fit on the base. Let's put them there. This one was Temu. Same with this one. And then this was like, I want to say it was July. July's miniature of the month from Games Workshop. That depends on where you live, Rascal. For instance, where I live, it's only $1 cheaper than going in to Games Workshop and buying it, or even buying it online. Typically, if I'm doing it and I look at this price online, I'm going to have a cheaper option there. However, let me mention another thing you guys could use. because this is actually something that not a lot of people know. There is a website called Miniature Market. They have discounted prices compared to regular MSRP. So what do I mean by that? I mean that I can get the entire Barbagon 5 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-piece Barbagon set, which is usually $34 through Games Workshop. I can get that for $20. And that's not using an affiliated link or anything like that. I just outright, you can get it on Miniature Market for cheaper. The thing about Miniature Market, though, is you got to see what's available. For instance, I have a friend on here who hasn't been on in a while. I'll have to see what's going on with him. But he's been asking me to do the Batman miniature game. And here's the issue with that. Not a lot of stores here sell it because it's a UK exclusive game. With it being UK exclusive, very little stores have it. Miniature Market has it. Downside is they don't have that many units. And they don't have that much options. Like, for instance, I would love to do Red Hood. They also have the Death in the Family scene. The exact scene of Joker going at Jason Todd. I would love to get that. I would love to convert it to show a pre or a post-hit Jason and Joker just standing there with the crowbar. Because it's already got him with the crowbar above his head and Jason on the ground with his arm like this. I could easily add like a sprue to where it's like a broke or adjust his arm, make it look like a broken arm, make it look like he's got a gash in his head, anything like that. I would love to do that set. And it's not that it's an expensive set. It's $35 for that piece and it's about that big. And it's really detailed. Like, if you have not looked at the Batman miniature game, these get really detailed. Downside with that, like I said, Miniature Market's the only place I can get them, and all the sets I want are out. Nobody wants to paint Condiment King. Nobody wants to paint Polka Dot Man. Nobody wants to paint Calendar Man. And that's all they got available right now. And I'm like, come on, give me at least like Batman Year One. Give me I will even take Damian Wayne's Son of the Batman if they have it. They also have, I can't remember if I found it on Miniature Market or on Amazon, but it's a similar game. It's for the DC miniature game, and they have Green Arrow. This one is harder to find, and I'm a huge Green Arrow fan. Like, that is my favorite superhero of all time. I can't find it anywhere. Ginger, Pool Wizard, thank you for joining. DJ Ultra, thank you for joining. But yeah, I mean, you definitely have to know where to look for these miniatures at. Not every store is going to sell the same thing. Not every, even not every Etsy person is going to sell the same thing, or every eBay is going to have the same thing. I ran into the issue where, with that miniature painting competition that I've been mentioning and that we've been promoting for a while now, where I want to do one more piece for them. I feel donating another $10 is worth it for the miniature painting competition. And I want to do a scarecrow. However, the scary scarecrows are all arriving after the entire miniature painting competition is done. Kid Wannabe, Chris, Elmer, Stellar, thank you for joining and thank you for the likes. So I'm at a standstill there. Do I grab the miniature paint? Do I grab the miniatures even though they may be late? Or do I just say, eh? Or do I say just, it's not worth it? That's where it comes down to a little bit of a, what do I do? But I mean, yeah, you can definitely look on like we've been saying, eBay, Etsy. You can look on really any miniature store and see if they got any discounts. For D&D, the cheapest place I have found any miniatures is the Gnomish Bazaar. This figure right here, when I got it, it was $14 or $15. It is now increased to $30 because it is just a rare figure. Just the dragon alone. These two are separate figures. You can get it on Gnomish Bazaar for the original 14. You can find Oh, you're talking about the Scarecrow. Yeah, I was thinking about that, but I was like, I mean, and this is coming from somebody who obviously does a lot of grimdark. And I'm not talking about like the style grimdark. I'm talking about more the aesthetic. Just like lava, a lot of decaying stuff. I mean, we have a literal Draco Lich we still have to paint. And then we have this one right here that we're going to be painting up. With this one, we are going to do a blood effect on the axe. We still got the werewolf to do. But yeah, I mean, we have a plan. Look on the Gnomish Bazaar. They may have it. I have personally never even seen a corpse flower miniature be made. And I've tried to keep up with Wizards of the Coast releases since I got into the hobby 6-7 years ago. But I mean, this is what we got for tonight. I think we did pretty good. We just got one more thing to do, and that's add the little dark gray across the body on the carapace. Yeah, like I said, I've never personally seen one, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And you always have 3D printers that can possibly do it. There's a lot out there that are getting into the 3D printing just because of easy accessibility. And we plan on doing that as well. Once we get room for a 3D printer, we plan on getting a 3D printer, having it set up, and including actual prints in our Etsy store, along with the miniature commission painting. And then we would charge for prints, we would charge for the STL file, or we will charge for prints with commission painted. And then, of course, we'll still have just regular commissions for those that want, say, an already printed miniature sent out. Yeah, I mean, that's one of our goals. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like it wasn't a curse to her. It was she could shift at will. So she wanted her werewolf form, and she wanted her hybrid form, and she wanted her regular form. And my first thought was, oh well, I'll just go on. Uh, my first thought was, I'll just go sit there and I'll go on Hero Forge and build it up. I got her pre hybrid form looking great. However, Hero Forge doesn't have a werewolf. Closest thing they have is an Anthro Canine, and personally, it looks like garbage. And that's after messing around with it, trying to make it look as good as I can make it. Yeah, you can try commissioning a 3D artist. I personally don't utilize them. Bees do good. Thank you for joining. The reason I don't utilize 3D artists. Now, I have no issue if it's a 3D printer who is doing like say something like this. Say they're promoting this exact model, and this is what you're gonna get. I got no issue with that. However, my issue is with the artists that are like, oh well, give me an idea of what you want and we'll make it happen. Then you go in, you give them all the details, and then they tell you, well, it's gonna be $500. And you're sitting there trying to figure out why it's $500 when resin's $38. You're asking for a 32 millimeter figure, and you've already given an example STL file that they just have to adjust. It doesn't make sense to me. And I have friends that 3D print, and they tried to explain it to me. I'm like, but still, $500 is that it's clearly a scam. I get those on a daily basis on my Facebook. People will sit there and go specifically to my business page and tell me, hey, look, we are doing this deal. You sit there and tell us what you want, and then we'll get it for you. I'm like, okay, well, do this. And I send them the exact image I want. And I tell them, I'm like, I just want that. Nothing extra, nothing more. Take that picture, upload it into your into your computer, and then turn it into a 3D model, print it. And they told me, okay, that's going to be $600. I'm like, no, that's a scam. You're literally like, it's a scam. Especially when I can go online and find the same print that's already printed for a fraction of the cost. So that's what you got to look out to as well when you're doing these 3D printers and going through 3D artists, is you have to double check. If you have an idea in your head and somebody's sitting there and has given your scenario and works with getting a 3D artist to do something for you, double check and make sure it's not something that's already existing. Take for instance me, huge fan of hang on, we got the puzzle piece. I'm a huge fan of Nightmare Before Christmas. Not a lot of Jack Skellington, Sally miniatures out there, which is strange because you'd think that there'd be a lot when a lot of the miniature artists are more into the grim dark and kind of spooky season-esque stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's always an option you gotta look at, and you gotta try figuring out what works for you, what doesn't. And that's just me looking out for you guys, making sure you guys ain't spending $500-$600 on a miniature. Like I told one person, why would I pay you $600 to print off a miniature when I can buy a printer for 200, resin for 30, a curing station for 50, and have extra around to play to buy actual licenses from people so that I can not only, print it for my use, but also sell it. And they blocked me instantly because that's how you know it's a scam. So if you're going to ask somebody to be a 3D artist for you, always ask that question. Why would I buy from you? Like, what benefit do I have buying from you when I can buy a printer for this much? I can buy a curing station for this much, and the resin's this much. And 9 times out of 10, they will block you because they know that it's a scam. Because what they don't want you to know with these 3D artists, and I'm going to do this for the scammers, artists, is that they don't want you knowing that they're scamming you. They want you to think you're getting a good deal. But if you do your research and you realize it's not really a good deal, then you can easily work around that with them. But most of the time, they'll just block you once they realize they can't get nothing out of you. And let's double check questions. I thought there was a couple earlier. Your goblin is from Hero Forge. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with Hero Forge. I used it myself. It's just some of their more anthropomorphic figures don't look good. Specifically the werewolf and the werecat. How am I doing today, bees? I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. With that, though, I think we are going to call the live here tonight. It's a pleasure talking with all of you. If you're not following me, please give me a follow. Check out our reposts if you are interested in joining the miniature painting competition ran by Lord of the Unfinished Projects. Check out our Patreon if you want to join our Patreon. We are donating 50% of every single Patreon member commit our membership to Fort Safe for Good for pancreatic cancer research. You can also donate in our nonprofit right there. And then we also have the Tiny Dinies. Both of these are going to be active for as long as we can do it. Beyond that, that's literally it. I appreciate that, Rascal. And like I said, give me a follow and we'll look into what we can possibly do for you. I do know I have to send, who was it? Warforge, that Discord link. Warforge, if you want to send me a message, please do that. With that, have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.